Hey, welcome to the Inner Circle podcast, where growth minded leaders come together to build better businesses and better lives. I'm your host, Hector Alvarado. Here, we don't do theory, we share real lessons, real systems, and real strategies you can use right away. This is a community for people committed to growth, impact, and supporting each other on the journey. You're in the right room, my friends. Let's get started. We're excited to bring to you today our weekly alignment meeting in 2026 goal setting, right? We talked about it. This is all in the theme of preparation into 2026 to kick off the right way, to make sure that you are aligned, that you're positioned to have a successful year. So as we kick things off, we always say, like, entrepreneurs and leaders, they don't fail because the owner or leader isn't working hard enough. What we've seen is that most of us who've been in these roles and in these positions is we fail because we aren't aligned. And that's the reality, is like, we have goals. We go into every year with plans. There may not be great ones, but we go in there with plans, and we have meetings with our teams. But what they don't have is clarity. They don't have focus, and they don't have a weekly execution rhythm that actually drives results. And that, as we head into this year, that's the gap we want to focus on closing. So today, we're going to really get into this, because in the next few years, we don't want you to just be hustling and working hard. They have to be reward focused and aligned execution focused. So what is goal setting? Yeah, so we see this at OBS, and entrepreneurs say, like, we want to grow revenue. We want or need better people. We need more structure. We need systems, right? This is something that we hear all the time, but they're vague. They're not to that critical understanding. And so when you ask them, all right, cool, give me your top 3 priorities of the year, I constantly hear, a few answers, or I hear silence. And that's the problem. I'll give you an example of this, okay? Very much a true story. I went and did a discovery call with a large IT group in Calgary not too long ago. And we sat in this room, and we had the owner at one end of the table, and we had all of their business unit leaders sitting there. Large organization. Let me share that, okay? Very large organization. And we went around the room, and I said, all right, folks, take me through your goals. What are you all working on, as you prepare for 2026? What are your priorities? We had the sales guy tell me his priority, or what he believed was the priorities. We had the ops person tell me something else. We had the HR person tell me something else. We had the administrative person tell me something else. We had the finance person tell me this. And I was like, okay, they're all over the map. And I go over to the owner, and I was like, so what are your goals? Like, what are the company goals? We left them for last on purpose. And he read out a list that was completely the opposite to what his leaders were talking about. Completely disengaged and not connected. So how many of you today are running your business in that way, where you have no clarity? Your owner has a plan. Your leadership team believes they're working on something that is productive, but they're not in sync. So that is the key component that we want to talk about, is clarity, because that precedes execution. You can tell me you want to grow. You can tell me you want more revenue. You can tell me you want more people, or the right people. But if you don't have clarity, you ain't got, you can fill in the word, okay? And so that's it. Like, that's what we're going to get into, because teams don't know what actually matters until they get aligned. So let's go into the next one. The real problem isn't like focus. Okay. They stack it. Most companies don't have a goal problem. They actually just have a focus problem. They stack all these goals: growth, new markets, new hires, new software, new services, all at the same time. Who's been there? Who's been trying to do it all at once, right? I know because I've seen it. You go in and they're like, we're going to launch this platform and that platform, and we're going to have this new hire, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do like 15 different services in the same quarter. Oh, okay, sure. Now you wonder why you have leaders that are burnt out. You wonder why you have teams that are overwhelmed, and you wonder why you're not getting results. It's clarity. It's clarity again. You see the theme as it keeps popping up. So if everything is important, then nothing is important, right? So our OBS approach for 2026 is quite simple. Define your 3 to 5 strategic priorities. That's what we're looking for. 3 to 5, your yearly must deliver goals. No more. Keep it simple. And we have a saying that says less is more. These are the things that, if done well, and what I mean done well, like top notch, right? Like you're laser dialed into these, it will make everything else easier. So ask yourself this as and I really want to make sure it's transparent. What must be true by the end of this year? If you start there, what must be true? What constraint is holding you or your business back right now? What is the bottleneck? What is the constraint? Okay. And where does leadership capacity need to level up? Those 3 questions will yield a strategic focus for you that will put you in the right path. It's no fluff. It's not feelings, it's true and transparent discovery. Because growth without leadership maturity creates chaos. So when we say leadership maturity, we're saying be open and honest and truthful. Don't lie to yourself. Don't pretend like the issue isn't there if it's there, right? Now, once you get there, you can turn goals into operational targets, which is where we want to go. They say our goal is profitability. Who's heard that or who said it? I think all of us have said that at some point. Okay, cool. You want profitability. What does it mean? Ask yourself that. What does that actually mean? At OBS, every goal must translate into a number, a KPI, a behavior, and an owner. Because to say you want profitability sounds like wishful thinking. Sounds great, but it doesn't become true unless you measure it. So every goal must have a translated number, right? We must have that as an example. If you want profitability, are you tracking your gross margin, right? Are you looking at your gross margin? Do you know what your gross margins are? Are they being measured weekly? Do you have access to data real time? And who owns it? Who is accountable for the outcome of the profitability goal? Those are key pillars for you to truly obtain that goal. Otherwise, again, I'll summarize it by saying it's wishful thinking. You're hoping it will align. You're hoping you're going to have low cost in your cost of goods sold. You're hoping you're going to have good labor management. You're hoping all of the stars are going to align so that at the end of the year you're going to be profitable, right? That's not measurable. Like that's not good. It's not actionable. You're just wishing it happens. So we introduce a best practice for you this week, and that is the weekly alignment meeting. This is a non-negotiable, okay? Annual goals don't drive results. And why do I say that? Because annual goals are your North Star. They're the stuff that you want to reach, you want to achieve. But how do you get there? through weekly execution completion tasks. Think of this as your roadmap, right? Let's all get into our car and we're going, because we're all Alberta here in today's call. We're going to say we're going to drive from Calgary to Grand Prairie, right? But we're not going to teleport from Calgary to Grand Prairie. We have to go through Edmonton, right? First, we got to go through Red Deer. Then we got to go through Edmonton. Then we got to go through Whitecourt. Then we got to go through Fox Creek, then through Valley View, and then finally we get to Grand Prairie. So think of it as your milestones. You have to check in weekly, win your week, win your month, win your quarter to win your year, right? And this monthly key, again, I've often hear like monthly, I'm checking my monthly P&L, I'm doing my monthly meetings. Monthly is too late. Because if you're not doing your weekly and daily check-ins, you're not actually getting consistent. The behaviors are not repetitive enough. It's like going to the gym. Some people will say, well, I went to the gym last week once. Okay, cool. What's that going to do for you? Nothing. Go to the gym 3 to 5 times a week, every single week. That becomes repetition. That becomes habit. That achieves the goal you want, right? And so why, again, is weekly important? Because that's the sweet spot. Monthly reviews are way too late, right? We said that already. And so the weekly review lets you see the problems early. It surfaces them early. And this is where leaders stay aligned, because if you let a problem fester for a month, man, like that's a long time wasted, and people start to determine their own idea to how to solve it. And they may go work on a solving it that isn't actually the root cause, like doesn't address the root cause. So you're wasting time and you're killing momentum because you've wasted all that time. So that weekly rhythm, that is the key here. Every team that we work with works on an OBS weekly alignment rhythm every single week. Okay. This is it is structured that it is at the same day, same time, and same agenda. Right. And here's the structure when you have these meetings. First, you review a scorecard. You review that scorecard because we don't debate numbers. We observe them and we own them. Second, you review wins and misses. What worked? What didn't? Right? Did you hit the goal? Did you not? Are you, on the green result or is it a red result? Third, we prioritize progress. So are we actually moving the needle with what matters? Are we focused on the right things? Fourth, we focus on removing issues. We solve real issues, urgent issues, and not symptoms, right? We discuss them, we address them, and we solve them by applying weekly to-dos. And finally, like that to-do becomes the commitment, and it is owned by a specific person, and they know what they are tasked with going to execute for the following week. Now, let me be clear. This is not just a meeting. This is an execution engine. You do this right, it will be a game changer for your organization. And I'm going to let Willie speak to that in a minute about how this works, because I can tell you from real experience, man, it has changed endless businesses that I've had the pleasure of working with, and I know that Willie has too. So the real entrepreneur experience, and when I've seen this with businesses running without weekly alignment meetings, I can tell you what happens. Every single time I talk to an organization that doesn't have this, their meetings drift, meaning they don't have them consistently, if at all. Okay, their accountability completely disappears because no one's accountable for getting anything done. And who gets burnt out? The owner. the owner, the leader, the operator, they constantly get pulled into an area that most business owners don't really have a stomach for, which is operations. And that's because it's the really heavy lifting of the business. And it sucks. Like it's time consuming, it's super challenging, but they get pulled into it. I've seen this when there's misalignment. However, when there is alignment and this weekly rhythm meeting is installed, you see problems that had lingered for months get solved in weeks. You see people issues that never used to be discussed get surfaced, get actioned, and get momentum. And not because people are working any harder, it is because they are focused on the particular issues that matter the most for their teams. So, as we close today, I want to propose, a challenge. And that is, oh, this is weird. It always comes with like a little bit of a changeover. We'll go to the next one. Lauren, there we go. So as we close today,
This is the
oh, that
last
is the last
line.
one. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. Then that is in line. All right. So as we close today, we head into 2026. It's important that you ask yourself the following things, the following questions. Do we have goals? Okay. And secondly, do we have alignment? Because today you learned the difference, right? Because success next year in the current year won't come from motivation. It will come from clarity, discipline, and rhythm. That is how you will win in 2026 by applying this one tool in your business starting next week. Now you have the framework. We're excited that you can get this implemented. And so I'll go to Willie now for some feedback and experience around this particular tool.
Awesome, Hector. Thanks for sharing that. And that brings back actually some good memories where I remember saying if there was, if we had only done the one thing that would have changed our business, that was these weekly meetings, but not just any weekly meetings. It was the structure, the framework of the meeting that works so well. So
Mhm.
it's that framework that we started using in all our departments on a weekly basis, and and I can just tell you as an owner how much weight was lifted off of my shoulders when we took these meetings seriously. And Hector, I remember you um, we had to a couple times to put our foot down on some people not getting their to-dos done and making sure it's they're actually taking responsibilities for their to-dos. But once
That's right.
everybody knew this is these are the to-dos we need to focus on for the next week, and they better get done over the next week. And we come to the meeting, we review, we look at what's next, and man, it's just the progress that we made just focusing on these structured weekly meetings was just unbelievable. It's really that one thing that probably turned our business around from losing money to actually becoming profitable. This one thing was probably the biggest one, was these weekly meetings.
It was so powerful, and so I appreciate you sharing that experience, Willie, because it was true. There was no fluff in what Willie just said. If there was one specific tool that you could take from a business that was losing millions to a business that had a very successful exit, was that we institute this weekly alignment meeting. There was no escaping accountability with this. And so I'm going to share now a live framework of what this is to look like for your businesses. Now, we have a different program. You guys are all part of the Inner Circle community. We have a Compass program that we also provide to entrepreneurs and businesses that are looking for structure in their business. And this is one of the tools that we bring to those entrepreneurs. This is what this leadership weekly meeting needs to look like. Okay, now it has a specific agenda. Okay, and we follow that agenda, but I'm going to show you a complete scorecard for you to see so that you understand what we talked about today. This has KPIs, it has KPI owners, it has goals, and it has results and trends. Okay. It has all those things that we talk about so that the leadership team and the team can capture where they're at. This particular team, as you know, wants to track their ROAS, okay, their return on ad spend. Great. They want to be at greater than 5. Well, how have they done? Okay, like their average tells us that they're at 7.6. They're above their target. Some might say, well, maybe that goal's too easy. Time to move it to 8, right? Because there's some weeks when they aren't achieving that. And so, this is how you start to push then next steps and next challenges. So we wanted to show that the scorecard for the group so that everybody understands it. Okay. Now, this review is critical because you start to say, all right, well, hey, look, you've got a few reds here. This becomes now an issue in that meeting. It goes into a discussion point. You talk through that issue and you solve it by assigning yourself a to-do. That to-do is captured in this tool and really in this format so that you can stay accountable to completing them on time. And those that don't complete them on time get spoken to or reviewed every single week. So if you follow this agenda, you will have a scorecard, you will have alignment to 90-day goals, you will have headlines where you can share and talk about wins and opportunities in your business. You will review your to-dos and have an opportunity to talk about accountability and who's doing what. And you will meet and discuss and solve issues, critical issues for your business. And at the end, you will conclude and have it all wrapped up in a way that it is meaningful and that it adds value to your organization. So I wanted to take a minute to share that with you so that you can visualize what we've talked about today. And in the community, there's going to be a worksheet that allows you to put this in program into place, but just also to give you an opportunity to see that we have something else called the Compass that also has a complete business framework for your business and or for your teams. But like the key component today was to show you this best practice, give you the tools to go apply it, and really get you laser focused on having these meetings every single week that deliver results, not just to meet for the sake of meeting, right? That's a wrap for today's episode of the Inner Circle. If something in today's conversation resonated, inspired you, or gave you a breakthrough, please share it with someone you care about. The right idea at the right time can change someone's business and their life. So make sure you follow the show, leave a review, and stay connected with us because this community is built on relationships, real support, and real growth together. Remember that clarity means nothing without action. So choose one insight from today, put it into motion this week, and notice the shift. Thank you for being part of this journey, for showing up for your growth, and for being part of the Inner Circle community. See you in the next episode, and let's keep growing together.